Hello and welcome back to the Pub Test Podcast. I'm your host, Fletcher, and second in command is Thomas Santorino.
You told me you weren't going to start with that.
Dubbed his new nickname.
By my dad.
Yeah,
Dad
second in command.
Dad listened to the podcast and said, I'm going to start calling you second in command. It didn't click to me for like 10 minutes. So I realised, I listened to the podcast and heard me complain about being called, well, a guest, basically.
Yeah, guest. You are pretty much a guest. And another guest
We actually have a guest today.
Is Corey Lyle. Obviously, well documented of what you do during the week by Tommy Santorino.
And only known as Corey Lyle.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much runs through my whole week.
Literally.
Does, how many times he sees me and whatnot, but happy to be here.
He says some very knowledgeable things, so it's very easy to quote Corey Lyle. Or Corey now. Because he actually knows a lot about footy. That's why we've got him on during the final series, Fletch.
One thing he doesn't know is what team to barrack for, and it's Hawthorn for him.
I don't know, mate. I mean, the two teams that are prelim bound have
got
beat by the Hawks this year, so
that's true.
Must be doing something right.
Ended well. Are you happy, excited for next year?
Yeah, I think so. As long as we don't sign a Sava, I'll be pretty happy. You know.
I wanted to ask you about that because we're obviously talking about it off the before we started. The money floating around that like $700K a year for a Sava. I'm assuming you're not a fan.
Now, I have no idea where that came from or why, because it doesn't seem to fit where we're headed at all. But, no. I mean, look, we're probably short in the key defender stock, so it's not surprising to hear his name come up, but for that sort of money, that seems pretty radical.
For a 26-year-old that has played defence for a year and is way too prone. Now, Aliir was prone to an error, but not to this level of a Sava. I don't mind the signing, but not for that much money.
Yeah,
I think Kane Collins said he's a bang average, like $450K a year. I'd pay that.
But what other options you got? Like, it's genuinely as a Dogs fan, I want a defender, and there's just Ben McLeod or him. And
that's why,
honestly, both of them you go, I don't want to pay $700, but there's no one else out there.
Just tools with talent, man. Just you bring them into your footy club, you manufacture them to play a certain way.
Yeah. Well, I wish Norton would go down back in defence again, but that's another story.
We can talk about it. We'll talk about it all day.
It's the perfect fit.
It is. And we got another father-son forward who's probably the best forward in the draft this year as a tall forward. Yeah. And we're going to get him father-son. So, not 200-centimetre bloke to play in the forward line, along with Sam Darcy and everyone.
Just quickly, I know we've just gone well. We've got so much to talk about. I heard that the Dogs list manager or whatever said that you were hamstrung by using all your draft picks on Darcy and Jamara. Only getting as a final side, getting the two best players in the draft.
Not two best. I think Nick Dacos was in one of those drafts.
Well,
so definitely
Jamara was a top 3 player in the draft, and you're a final side getting him, and you were hamstrung, and it forced you. It left you a bit tight on what to do. You signed 2 generational keys.
It's definitely crying poor. Like when you're not poor.
Is that them finding excuses for the bottom half
definitely.
of the list?
Yes, definitely. Yeah. 100%, and pretty poor. But have you seen what's happened to the Dogs? 3 coaches gone.
Yes, Varco
It is a clean out. So
everyone except that maybe should go.
Yeah, that's it. Well, you definitely put the pressure back on him now next year that you've cleaned out everyone else but him. Mm-hmm. If it doesn't work, you kind of got the last one. But the only problem is with this clean out, just quickly, if this clean out you don't have an option to go get someone, I'm really worried that you're just doing the clean out for the sake of doing the clean out, and you don't actually have a plan of where you're going to go from there. So
PR thing, it
looks good, but like who you're bringing in, who you've got line.
That's all it's about. It's about who you bring in.
So,
for example, Gold Coast sacking Stewie Dew to get one of the best coaches in our generation.
So and Neo's brought in so many more good coaches there.
Correct. So you can't be sacking someone for the sake of it. You're going to be eyeing someone off.
100%. So that's going to be very interesting for Dogs, as we already knew at the start of the year.
In finals.
Interesting because the fact that you're literally, or post-finals, this is make or break for a club. Let's be honest here. You're either going to lose everyone, and we've talked about like Sam Darcy, Jamara, Aaron Norton, Tim English could all just leave in the next 12 months. It's pretty crazy.
Fork in the road.
Just before we get onto the finals, USA came fourth in the FIBA World Cup. I just want to laugh at them for a little bit. Not even a medal. And you went to the best country in the world for basketball.
World champs. You got Noah Lyle sing the world champs thing.
Noah Lyle, sprinter from USA, said that the NBA shouldn't be using the word champions.
Because you're only playing USA.
Because you're only playing the USA. You're only playing in the USA competition. And he pretty much got slandered by every American basketball player. And then they just came fourth. So sucked in all those Americans over there.
What do I say, Tommy? It's free real estate.
It actually is free real estate. He was so with himself. I saw a podcast and he was so with himself. But, I mean, Fair play to who won it? Was it Germany?
Germany won it. Serbia second.
Dennis Schroeder.
Bronze.
Undefeated.
Yeah, they just
Wow.
flew through it.
And Dennis Schroeder's not even signed. Not signed in the NBA.
Isn't he?
No,
I thought he was at Raptors.
free agent. No, he's a free agent. And then Dylan Brooks had 39 against America in the
That is so
last
funny.
game. So
Yeah, talk about him. That's my man.
That's so funny.
That's my man. What are we paying him? $20 million a year or something like that?
That's so good.
it's non-guaranteed though. I did find that out.
Yeah.
Non-guaranteed. So could just sack him next year. But we're gonna get on some footy now. Just so we'd laugh at America.
It's taking us like over 5 minutes to get to what we're doing. We're here for the final.
Very good time. 5 minutes 30 from you.
I guess.
First game of the week was Carlton Swans.
No.
It's Collingwood.
No. Now, Fletcher sent in our talking points to Corey and I and refused to put in Collingwood winning. Did you forget we won?
I just wanted to rev you up, and I just wanted to rev you again. So Collingwood won Thursday night for you. There you go, Tommy. How'd you feel? What was it feeling like Friday morning?
Well, I wore my scarf to work on Friday, which is controversial.
Oh no!
Those guys flag out the window.
Well,
sort of
You
stuff.
wear your jersey to the game,
No,
don't you?
no.
You're
I'm not a Will Cups.
you're like 12 years old again.
No, I argue to my boss that it creates customer engagement because people see it and they want to talk about footy.
Or don't want to come back.
He's not bringing.
Maybe.
He doesn't want you to bring in the thieves. He wants you to bring in paying customers.
Thieves. But everyone asked me, like, how'd you feel? And the first thing I would say is relief because that last quarter was way too stressful for my liking. We just basically parked the bus in soccer terms. Like, we clearly played the scoreboard. We saw they needed to kick 4 goals. They kicked 5 for the game. They needed to kick 4 goals in a quarter. So we played to that. We were playing defensive from the moment that quarter started. I thought 1 goal win the game. I said to Corey 3 quarter time, we kick 1 goal, we win. I didn't even sure we scored.
You had 2 at the back of the stoppage from like halfway through the third quarter. Like,
We did.
You completely shut up shop.
We played the clock. And look, it got a win in the end, but it was large. I wouldn't say largely unconvincing. That last quarter was unconvincing, but the first quarter won it for us.
I'm not sure you guys were so unconvincing as much as Melbourne was so good around stoppage in that last quarter. You know?
Yeah.
Like, you guys were extremely convincing down back. Like, the ball was coming in every
It's coming in
time it
hot.
came
Do you
out,
reckon
it
It
came
was
straight
coming
back
in
in.
hot.
Do you reckon Melbourne just kicked the ball like shit? No?
Oh, I see why they do it. Like, it's their game plan. They want deep entries so they don't get hurt the other way. Because if you go for that shallow inside entry, you just get hurt the other way if you turn it over.
Pings back, and they don't really have a target. So it's like, just get deep. Don't hit up the lead target. Just get it deep. So I don't think you guys were convincing, in my opinion, but I do understand what your point is.
You don't think we were convincing for 3 quarters?
One,
you reckon?
yeah. The first you're convincing, and then from then on, I think it was a battle.
So I would have
was
said
even.
2.5. I would have said 2.5.
But definitely the last 2 quarters, you got belted around the ball. The last 2 quarters,
Yeah, I'd probably say
which then just from there just flows onto the rest of your game. The defense would hold up strong, but it wasn't like you were bouncing off that and scoring off that like you normally would. You were just hanging on for not scoring goals.
I think as the game drew on, it was more and more what I'd feared the game would look like. Is Collingwood unable to run the ball out of defence, as kick the ball down May and Lever's throat. We didn't see it in the first quarter, or we brought it to ground all the time, and it allowed us to keep going inside 50. But as the game wore on, it became more and more what I'd feared. And that last quarter was just kicking it down Gordon, May and Lever's throat the whole quarter.
It's pretty safe. That's how I saw it.
Yeah.
Collingwood, once they had their lead, they didn't want to take any risks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah, probably fair to say that. We'll talk about Melbourne in the preview because that's
A big talking point. We're going to spend a while on that. We'll spend that in the preview, I reckon.
and we don't want to hash over it twice, so we'll just do it in the preview. Move on to the Carlton Swans game. That was another rip snorter. Crowd was into it. Carlton got the chocolates over the Swans, so Swans are out. Love to hear you. We'll talk about their season later on and grade their season, but Carlton, from a Carlton point of view, playing really good footy, bashed them up around the ball, got it inside 50. So maybe some structural changes that forced upon their hand with Harry Mackay getting a concussion and out. Almost a blessing in disguise? Question mark? I don't know.
Well, Silvani's fit, isn't he? So Silvani, you would think, comes back in. I mean, we're going to talk about Jack Martin as well, but so he's got to go. Yeah, look, it's going to be interesting. They go small again. It worked pretty well for them previously, Carlton. So,
and another thing, we've been talking about their back six. Or not back six, their bottom 6 all year. And I reckon that was the bottom 6 that stood up on the weekend.
they were good.
Chera was good, but Chera and Walsh were really good. Chera was a bit more impactful with his touches, but Walsh a bit more, just kicked it long. But the back 6, the bottom 6 of Akers, it's hard to put him in the bottom six.
He wouldn't be there. Cottrell, though, was one of the best players on the
Cottrell's-
ground. And
like-
he was one of the ones that he kind of came in, that kind of him with Fogarty, Cunningham. That's where Carlton started to win those games. He was one of the best players on the ground, Cottrell. And Akers probably was best player on the ground.
I don't know how closely you boys watch him, but that bloke is a workhorse. He does not stop moving. Ever,
As in
Cottrell.
Cottrell, yeah.
He just does
And
not
Akers.
stop running. It's unbelievable. Same with Akers.
Akers and the other ones who didn't play, he's a rookie. Ollie Hollands.
Hollands, yeah.
Those
He
three.
was stiff to get dropped, Hollins.
I can see why they did it, though. They went for the more experienced body that just
Being a
kind
bit
of
wet
knows.
too. He's a bit younger, so he probably
Yeah.
needed that bit. You're right, bit bigger body, but
They upgraded their one wood, which is just brutal strength round contest, I think.
Yeah, they're
Mhm.
big, they're strong.
Yeah.
Like the old Geelong teams, it felt like every time you played Geelong, you look at them and you go, gee, they're huge. Like,
Yeah.
you look around every line, they're massive. Built.
Kerno didn't have the game, but Jack Martin, I think, is really structurally important, which is going to be interesting to talk about later if he gets off. He's structurally very, very important for
he's
them.
become one of the better players. Like, he's really had a resurgence this year. He's always shown signs, but he's never been able to piece 3 good games in a row. He'd play 1 or 2 good ones, then he'd have a stinker. Like, hasn't been able to piece together a couple of months of really strong footy, and he finally has done that, to be fair. One thing I wanted to raise with you boys, as the game drew more and more on, now maybe this could be a Harry Mackay issue, but gee, the Swans were just setting up in defence, and they marked everything that second half, especially that last quarter. Is that a Harry Mackay issue? Because coincidentally, the Blues probably played their best footy when Mackay hasn't been in. Now, we don't know how much that's Mackay, how much it was just coincidence. Everyone's been saying that Mackay was probably a bit too tall, because obviously they've been playing with extra small. McCartan and Rampion had a field day. And May, Lever and Gawn are going to be even tougher again. So, yeah, probably has to be Silvani. But I'm a bit worried that Swans were able to repel that last quarter. In the end, it was probably similar to the Melbourne Collingwood game, that Swans almost dominated that last quarter. Just couldn't score.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. The Swans in the fourth quarter were the better side, and I thought they were going to run over them.
I did too.
They had some opportunities that they missed, and I did think they were going to run over them, but Carlton hang on, I guess you could say. That's a good side sort of trait. But I think Carlton don't use the ball fantastic, do they? They don't.
Don't need
Typically, no. Like, it was a big talking point in the front half of the year that they just butchered it.
They don't overlap or get the easy out. They're always looking for because of the way they play. It's always brute strength. It's always just pounding it down someone's throat. So they don't.
Well,
not
they
much
score from
overlap.
Stoppage.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's talked about a lot that they just don't score that much from turnover. One of the worst teams.
Which means you have 6v6 or even sometimes a +1 if you roll up someone to the stoppage. So, it's not like they're going to be easy stoppages like a Geelong that just overlap and pinpoint and then slowly work the angles. They just shove it down your throat and just get numbers to the ball.
It's why Chair is so important, because he's probably the you look at that midfield. Walsh has, while he's been a good user in the past, hasn't been this year. Cripps is definitely not. Hewitt's definitely not. Chair is kind of the one that is a bit more silky. So that's why he's so important in a side that, you're right, hasn't been good from turnover. Like, they've been dominant since around 10, 11, 12, whatever it is, but they've been like ranked like 15th for turnover, score from turnover. So, but yeah, Swans were terrible in that area. So that's why I kind of thought the Blues would have been comfortably, is that Swans have been bad in contest all year.
Wasn't
They
comfortable
were
though.
surprisingly
It wasn't in
good,
the end.
though.
They were surprisingly
the
good.
Swans, they were good around stoppage.
Especially and it wasn't Parker. He went forward. So
Yeah.
I thought it would really only be Parker. And Rowbottom was a little quiet. I guess he played on Cripps to some extent. But Parker played forward, and I thought it would kind of be him that would have to do it. But
One person you have to mention, Errol Gordon.
he's so
Star.
good.
He's got to be my favourite player outside of Hawthorn.
Doing it for us
Going around.
little fellas, correct?
Oh, yeah. I just love outside runners that use the ball well.
Oh.
Always loved them.
Just
So good to
perfect.
watch.
And the
He's
way he
drunk.
got back, took that mark late in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
He's a star.
And his
Yeah,
goal
he's
kicking's
strong.
unreal too. Like, he kicks goal. He's gonna have 30 goal seasons while averaging 25, 30 touches.
Yeah.
You've seen they're becoming more and more important as the game, evolves, I guess.
He is scary to see. We're going to talk about their season later as a whole and give him a letter grading later on, same as St Kilda. But when we went to St Kilda game now, GWS St Kilda, GWS got chocolates pretty fairly easy. We thought it was going to be a very dire game. It turned out to be pretty open, but only open for one side, and that was GWS. St Kilda tried their hardest, but GWS speed in attack was just so potent. It really hammered home to me that they're a finals-worthy side, really not worthy of 8th, but a final-worthy side. And along with their defense, they're just the way they run in a wave, that orange tsunami. It's gonna be hard to stop. If they get in a roll, you give them a sniff. They're gonna be a hard team to stop, and the sky. I don't think there's a ceiling on what they can do this year, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, like a team like a Melbourne, you kind of know what they're going to do. A team like GWS, it could make the grand final. They could also lose this week. So it's very, very hard to predict where they're going to go. And Toby Green just gets it done one more time.
Yeah, he was obviously. It's no secret he's one of my favourite player to watch in the AFL. But yeah, he was good again. Cal Wilkie, I think Toby Green's just too smart.
It was wrong matchup.
It was a wrong matchup. But to be honest, whatever you do, you play up and Toby Green will get behind you. If you sag on Toby Green, he'll get others involved. It just seems. How do you play him? Like, it probably. I don't know who it's going to be from Port either. To be honest, I think in previous years you'd probably said Darcy Byrne-Jones, but he's been playing forward. So I don't know who Port's going to play on him this week. But I mean,
they got it wrong because Wilkie tried to intercept Mark a few times, and if he had no impact on the contest, or even only 90% impact on the contest, the ball just fell to Toby Green, and he just made the right decision out of it. So they really need to release him off Toby Green so that he could just intercept the ball and not have to worry about Toby Green being the +1 crummer. So,
well, you can see that just by the first quarter. They got completely jumped the Saints. Like, what did they concede in the first quarter? Or something like 35 points or something. They've typically been a really good defensive side all year.
Yeah, 33 points, 5 goals, 3.
Yeah, so having Wilkie completely tied up with Green just completely shut up their system. Like, they didn't know where to go from that. Like,
and whenever he did go across and spoil, Toby Green was just sitting there like, thanks for that. It had to be a mark.
Yeah.
It had to be a mark to Wilkie, otherwise Toby Green would just say, thanks.
Yeah.
Just come off me and I'll just gobble this up and kick this inside 50.
No, he's a superstar. Tommy flagged at the start of the year, and he I don't like admitting when Tommy's right, but it was pretty good. Because I didn't have him in my 8 at the start of the year, Tommy, when you flagged it, but I reckon...
Top 3?
Oh, he has to be. He has to. Oh, 3, yeah, he'd be thereabouts. Look at
how chuffed he is.
I love that man.
The demolition of the last game and the demolition that occurred on Saturday night. Brisbane at the Gabba versus Port Adelaide. Port's probably the most interesting one of this, but we'll start with Brisbane because we're not going to have it next week. I said this in the talking points. Brisbane can do it from every area of the ground. Defense, you want to play a heavy territory game against them. Their defense can bounce it off the half back line and intercept it. If you want to play around the midfield and play a stoppage game, I mean, we know their midfield, they can do it. And then if you want to play in the forward line, they've got the 3 best forwards in the competition, or maybe the best 6 in the competition.
They've definitely got the best forward line in the comp, I reckon.
And then if they're feeling a bit off, they just throw Cam Rayner or Zach Bailey into the midfield and just try and work out something there. So options galore, and they look very dangerous.
I have to give you credit. Your main player was Cam Rayner, and he was fairly good.
He was very good.
Well done on that one. But yeah, I think the most pleasing thing from a Brisbane perspective is Neil was very well held, and they still won comfortably. Charlie Cameron kicked 2, but they were in about 30 seconds. Outside they did nothing. So,
but like,
it doesn't have to.
It doesn't worry you. Like,
no, it doesn't, and that's the scary thing. It doesn't worry. Like, Neil, like you shut previous week shut down Dacos. Collingwood struggled, and you shut down Neil. They still dominated on the footy.
Well, it was a perfect game by Brisbane, wasn't it? Outside of Neil not performing, they managed to just control the footy the entire time. They just had possession, seemingly, for the whole game. I mean, Port missed some crucial opportunities, but
yes.
McCluggage has been slow this year, but he was fantastic on Saturday night.
He was injured. He got injured during the game.
That was interesting.
Hip injury. So.
Really picked up the load.
Yeah. The one thing I'd want to flag is I know the Lions have been good in defence, but Port still scored, and Andrews and Marshall missed a lot of chances. So I'm still... It's probably the first in a long time that Andrews and Payne have looked a little shaky. Maybe I'm trying to convince myself because Collingwood weren't playing them in a couple of weeks' time. But it's the first time that Andrews looked a bit shaky. And Port still scored, if I get it up now...
75 points.
11-9. That should be... With the misses they had, that should be close to 100. Marshall missed a couple of sodas. That should be at least 90.
How's that finals pressure, mate?
That's finals pressure for
best kicks.
He was like 32-14 before that game. Maybe
not
100
25 points. He's not making up 25 points.
No, but
he missed 2 sodas.
But they missed a few. I reckon that's just getting close to 90.
I see where he's coming from.
They scored a lot
because those crucial chances swing the momentum of the game, and all of a sudden they're in it when they shouldn't be.
I'm not saying Port should have won, but I'm saying that the Lions still conceded. I think the Lions only won by 2 at the expected score. You hear that a lot nowadays. The expected score, I think Port almost won. So that's telling you that their chances were good chances as missed them, and that's poor Kings, poor footy. I mean, I can't talk as a Collingwood supporter after that one. It's our game on Thursday, but the Lions did concede a bit. So I guess it's a bit
Fast
of a
take
watch.
of the gap. Like, come on.
But that's the first time they've really looked a bit shaky for a long time.
We did flag as a bit of a shootout as well, though.
That's true. That's a good point.
And probably the two best offenses
Yeah.
in the competition
Yeah,
at the
I
moment,
think so.
at this
Yeah.
stage.
They definitely like to play.
They both play
through the
fast.
middle,
Well,
yeah.
Port especially plays really fast, but Brisbane are...
They hide their
spoken about.
defence by the fact that they play so quick, Port.
Yeah.
Like, they just want to play so quick. There's like, oh, shit, we can't defend and we can't attack. So,
Yeah, and their mids go and
Yeah.
go forward quickly.
lovely. Nothing else to add in that sort of wrap up?
Nope.
The wrap?
Nah,
Nope.
man.
Tribunal. Has it?
I've been refreshing. It's still not up yet.
Nothing. So we got the Braz.
They've been deliberating for the last half an hour, by the way.
What does that mean?
What?
Well, they're currently in the tribunal. The panel is currently talking. Been talking for the last half an hour.
They're in a separate room talking by themselves.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
So that means there should be.
I mean,
hopefully
he's
by the
been
end
there
of the
for
podcast.
4 hours or something.
It started at 4 o'clock, now 7:30. Yeah. So
Yeah.
hopefully by the end of this podcast, it'll be up. But knowing our luck, it'll probably be like 5 minutes after we finish.
Watch it.
I reckon.
Yeah.
We'll start with Jacob Van Rooyen then. Accepted the 1 week.
Wow, starting. Okay.
Well, we'll try and hopefully the
Work
next
your
5
way
minutes. Jacob Van Rooyen, he's accepted the 1 week suspension, so he'll miss this week, which, from a Melbourne point of view, which we'll talk about later, yeeks! No forwards. No key forwards. So,
What was the name of the bloke they're looking at bringing in? It's not Grundy.
Spargo.
No. It was some bloke who's played 2 games.
Oh,
Was
what?
that Turner or something? Is that his name?
Oh,
Something like
that I haven't
I'm
heard
sorry.
that.
I come here unprepared.
I'm not sure.
That's a concern.
Yeah,
man.
I heard it today while I was driving home.
I think I'm worried that he's going to bring Grundy in because I have to.
I thought they'd bring Gunn in because of Mackel and broken toe.
No, Gordon will play. He said.
Yeah, but like...
Well, he's saying play more forward, don't have to move around the ground as much. So
yeah, and if he gets really bad, he has to be subbed out, then you've at least got a ruckman instead of going with no ruckman, no key forward, and fuck,
That's true.
What's he say about Ben Brown though? That Ben Brown is available, yet they're still trying to find alternatives.
Well, they might still play him, man.
probably
Tom
gonna have
McDonald was
to.
pretty poor, right?
McDonald, it's his first game, but he wasn't good. So he was a genuine liability. Outside of his goal, I didn't see him all night. But it was his first game.
He's getting slammed everywhere, man.
He actually is.
First
He is.
game in 3 or 4 months, and he's
Yeah, no, chucked in the deep end
cool.
much.
Slow
But
and whatnot.
yeah,
fix our issue.
Yeah, everyone's watching him. Grundy's not there, I guess.
but I think the Van Vroomen one was pretty straightforward. It
1
was
week.
funny that Luke O'Donnell during the call, I guess you could say, said he dived.
Hey, look, he
then-
makes emotional decisions, Luke O'Donnell.
And then when I
That's
said
why
to
we love
him, no, he got hit. He said, "Take your Collingwood goggles off, Tommy." He didn't say a word after we saw the close up vision of him getting chinned.
I will admit at first I went, oh, we flopped there. And I went, no,
It was because 30 seconds
awful.
earlier, Tom Mitchell,
Yeah.
one of the bigger flops you'll see this year. So I can understand.
That was poor.
That was so.
That
How did
was
he
a
not get
bad
fined?
one.
By the way,
Yeah.
he didn't get fined for that.
Really?
No.
Yeah, because you wanted Collingwood to win. That's
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that cool in a minute. But gee, I want to talk about that. But Van Rooyen deserved it. Week.
yeah, probably agree with that. Jacob,
Yeah, there's not much to look at.
1
there.
week,
It was
pretty straightforward.
Always going to be one.
Yeah. Jack Martin, 2 weeks, little bit of a hit, gets off 1 week, 2, happy with it. Because
Well, I heard that a lot of people thought he should have got 1.
I reckon he
Game
should
or
have got 1.
something. You reckon?
I think he's the same as Jacob Van Rooyen. Just rough contact, high, low to medium impact, 1 week.
Yeah,
There you
okay. See, I thought I saw it being 2 straight away because I thought that's not like a bump or a tackle. That's not really much of a footy act for me. Like he didn't
Yeah.
a closed fist.
go. Okay.
I get that he didn't, knock him out or anything. Like it wasn't. I guess you could call it high impact, but they settled on medium impact, and that's why they gave him 2. Is that right?
I think so, yeah. I think
So
that's it.
maybe he gets it down to low and he gets 1, but yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know. I'd
I
rather-
wouldn't want to get. I like 2. The only reason I like 2 is he can't get off. So I think it's
Yeah.
1 week minimum
Yeah.
and not getting away. If that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
if you go 1 week, then he can get away with and get off. Whereas I don't mind 2 just for the fact that he goes down to 1. But I hate to miss this week, miss the prelim.
Do you reckon maybe that's why they went with it? Went with the 2 because it probably is.
But
low
then
impact.
if they stand with the 2,
Yeah.
then he misses 2 games. So I don't really think he deserves 2 games for that.
Right.
So I don't know. It's hard.
Yeah.
I think one's fair.
I'm interested to see how they do it because I'd rather them compared to dangerous tackles and whatnot. I'd rather them punish those more harshly than
agree.
the tackles that we're seeing.
Yeah.
But I suppose you
They
didn't
don't.
really get him, did he? But,
I thought 1 too. I can't remember how far the footy was, but I kind of thought it was a bit of a clumsy, half attempt at a play at the ball. I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to be a bit lenient. I hope he gets 2 because I hate Carl.
But if they gave him 1 and then they argued and he got down to none, would you be happy with that?
No, he deserves a week.
So it kind of is good that they've given 2.
The Carlton lawyers tax.
Yeah, I see where you're coming
The
from.
Carlton lawyers tax.
But they know they'll get it down.
Where's
they know
Gorringe?
Where's Gorringe?
Where's the lid? Anyone got a key?
But I think it's 1. But yeah, there's no way he's getting 2. It's Carlton lawyers. No way he gets 2. None, Fletcher. As you're shutting our fridge.
The Kirks.
The Kirks sponsored by Kirks.
The Kirks goal.
But yeah, no. For me, it was 1. But I'm happy with 2.
And then the big one, Maynard. We'll let you go first, Tommy, because you feel... I can see the steam already coming out of your head.
What do you think in the moment, Tommy? So the camera hasn't come back onto the play yet.
Camera's mute. Commentator's mute. What are you thinking?
Yeah, they haven't shown the replay yet. You just know that Bruzzy's hit someone. What are you thinking?
First thought is Braden Maynard. So it probably is a big one. That it probably is a bit deliberate. Just because Braden Maynard. But look, it's been so divided. I think you were saying before we started that like all the the news sites are doing polls and they're all 50-50. Like most people can't decide. I think early on a lot of the commentators I listened to said nah, football act, but then last few I've heard Gary Lyon saying no, he deserves weeks. Obviously biased, so I'm going to say he should get off. What I will say, I just thought he was bracing for contact, but I can understand. I can understand why it went to the tribunal. There's no way like Michael Christian didn't want to take it to the tribunal. For me, there's no way it couldn't have, just because the guy's concussed. But I personally think he should get off. But I think the real question is, do you think he could do something different? And I didn't think so, but I did hear a call out today on SEN say he could have tried to bear hug him. I'm not sure how legitimate that is, but I think he should get off. But I'm also biased. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Well, the thing about going in for that bear hug, I guess, his argument would be that he just puts himself in danger, and then you end up with 2 knocked out players. That'd be the first thing he'd say. Whether or not he could have actually done something different, I don't know. Like, it all happens too quickly. You get sucked in by watching all these slow-mos and whatnot that it makes it seem like he has all of this time in the world to make a decision, but it happens like that. He doesn't have any time to make his decision. In the end, he's protected himself, but he's just a bit unlucky.
In the context of the season, though, should probably be suspended. For what they've done every other incident, probably should be suspended.
I have no doubt in my mind that he should be suspended.
But do I agree with that? And will that happen? I don't think so.
Like we said before we actually started, it's a lose-lose. Like, whichever way this goes, we're going to say that they got it wrong.
Yeah, totally agree with that.
Correct.
I was honestly thinking, like, I'm trying to make an argument for both, and I'm like, if they give him a week, I can make an argument, and I won't be happy with it. But if they don't give him weeks, then I won't be happy with that, and I'll make an argument that way. So whatever that happens, I'm generally probably not going to be happy with it. It's just going to be what it is, because I honestly don't know where it should be, because it's a big 3 weeks. He's going to miss the grand final. That's massive. It's massive. Yeah. It's not like it's Andrew Gaff punching Andrew Brayshaw in the mouth and missing grand final. Like, that was so... I know that was a long time before the grand final, but that was just such an act that shouldn't be playing for a little while. This one is so in the moment. It's a smother that turned into a protection bump, whatever you want to call it. And it was so quick that you can't really... I don't want to take it out of the game because he was just trying to do the right thing, but at the same time, he did knock someone out, so you got the duty of care. And I know you say he left his feet. Well, he chose to leave his feet. So... But at the same time, as like Cosy Pickett, at the start of the year, they kind of set the precedence. You don't get knocked out, you're fine. And you can be a missile into someone's chin. Lucky they got a strong chin. So like, if this was Viney and hasn't been knocked out, then it probably just goes along and he gets nothing. But because it's Brayshaw and he's had history, it does go on.
If he touched the footy, would have been an issue.
I did say that. Pendles made that.
Pendles made that argument. That, like, he was about, I don't know how far, but he wasn't that far off the ball. If he touches the ball then, and umpire's called touch play on, and he still collects him, you can't say because then if he touched the ball, you can't guess who's made a play of the ball. He actually has.
Yeah, there's no attempt on the ball. It's you've touched the ball.
Fact.
Yeah. So then you kind of allowed to do it, aren't you? But he didn't touch the ball.
He has to get off in that case, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He touches it. Because it's the whole argument is it a footy act? That's what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Yeah. True.
The thing that kills me is that people have been suspended all year for footy acts.
Well, Sicily's not perfect one. It's a different situation. It is
Don't
a
get me
footy.
started.
It's a footy act. It was a footy act, and unfortunately, someone ran behind and got his head in awkward position, and it went down. Sicily didn't know that when he was going to attack him, that was going to be dumped over the shoulder type, like a rotating tackle that was going to cause him to hit his head in the back in the ground. He had no malice, or he was trying to do a footy acting tackle, but it turned into a head knock.
Yeah.
But then you look at Tom Lynch, who kind of early in the year against the Dogs, when he went up from mark, halfway to the mark, then
Got off that one.
he
right?
got off that one.
Eyes
got
off the
off that
footy, made it, and
Yeah.
knocked out Alex Kidd.
But they argued that he braced, and it's kind of like, yeah,
Maynard kind of braced too.
Maynard braced, and I think Maynard had less time to brace than
That'd be my first
Tom
piece
Lynch.
of evidence. is
Yeah,
that
I'd love
Tom
to.
Lynch
So
fridge.
I've got it here, but I'm only refreshing the top part in case we get a result. I'd love to hear what Maynard said. All I've heard from Maynard is that he was so focused on the ball that he didn't. He was surprised that contact was coming as well. Like he was just, and I think Luke Hodge said that listening on the way home from work, and Hodge the same thing. He's like, most AFL players will tell you that they're just focused looking at the ball.
Yeah.
They're not looking at the player, looking at the footy. So Maynard was surprised that there was going to be contact as well. I'm surprised by, I think the AFL legal guy tried to say that Maynard should have jumped more upwards instead of jumping at him. You're running at full speed. You tell me you get to stop and jump upwards.
Yeah, it's probably the greatest.
Corns ripped it to shreds apparently on SEN.
It's not the greatest of arguments there. It was not great at all. But
Terrible.
It should be more worded. You've chose to jump. You chose to jump.
But
Now,
do you mean he's telling a player can't pressure the footy?
yeah, you can front on run at them.
But
You don't
he's
jump.
kicking the ball.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean you can't front on run at him. Like he's chose to. I'm playing devil's advocate.
Yeah,
here,
I get you saying.
But I'm not totally agreeing what I'm saying. But he did choose to bump.
He chose to jump.
Sorry, he
Yeah.
chose to jump. He could have kept running full pelt and make him balk, make him make another decision. Because we can see that Brayshaw wasn't thinking about balking or getting around him. He was just thinking about kicking the ball and was almost caught off guard. So he kept running at full pace. He might have hit him in the head still.
Yeah,
but
to say he had no options is wrong, but maybe once he was in the air, he had no options.
Yes,
but
that's
he
true.
didn't have to leave his feet.
Yeah, that's true. Could we also quickly touch on Hamish Brayshaw? That's one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. He tried to say on a podcast that if Maynard gets off, it's because AFL want Collingwood to win the flag. That's one of the stupidest things I've ever
Didn't
heard.
Bucks make the completely direct opposite argument on SEN? He said this is being like ramped up higher because it's Collingwood.
Yes, he said the complete opposite thing.
Yeah.
Like it's
Typical
ridiculous.
Collingwood
They
Yeah.
just because if it's Collingwood, he gets off because they want to win the flag.
I think it just speaks to how split this is, like we said before.
Yeah.
Everyone has complete split views on this. I have no idea which way it's going to go. I don't think anyone does.
I think
It's not even
fascinating.
Christensen, like, seriously.
Yeah, you're right. I think what you said at the start, Fletch, and that's ultimately how we all feel is that whatever the result is, it's wrong.
pretty much.
No, literally,
sad.
like
Yeah.
it's
It's poor, isn't it? Like, it's
There's no clear
Scary.
after 24 rounds. There's no clear defining. This is suspension. This is not.
This is
Yeah.
brand new though, so I understand that this is brand new. So I've heard two things. That one, I know we spoke for
It's
so
not
long
really brand new. It's not really.
but getting suspended for trying to smother the footy is
Yeah, but like the action of a football act versus a
Yeah, I get that.
Jack Martin throwing a fist act.
we're almost used to it now, seeing people going for football acts.
So-
Every week it was a story this year.
Yeah,
Every week.
I think there was an All Australian teams of sling tackles suspended.
Yeah,
sling
actually
tackles.
was. Yeah, there
people
were
missed out.
suspensions. Yeah.
People missed out.
Just quickly before we move on, because I know we spoke for this for way too long already. There's two things I've heard that some are saying that he shouldn't be adjudicated on a law that hasn't been made a law yet, because obviously whatever happens here, they're going to change the rules. But then there's other people are saying that if you let him off, it's giving the green light for other people to do the same thing. Which camp are you boys in?
How many times have we seen this happen during the year though?
This incident, none. This incident.
And it's not
I
like
think it's a
people.
freak accident. That's how
That's
I
what
see.
I'm-
That's
that's what
how
I'm
I see
thinking
the whole
too.
thing.
So I think someone said that if you let this happen, you let it happen, or you'll let it happen forever. But I just think it's happened once ever. Like,
Yeah,
Mm.
I don't think we saw that situation much in the year, like in terms of someone
No.
trying to smother like that. So
maybe we don't, because Maynard's just a different beast, so he
well,
probably
finals
be a bit more.
intensity.
Yeah. And do you think that because it's Maynard, we're thinking worse of it? Like
I hope not.
If
Hope
you
not.
think if Brayshaw hit Maynard, I don't think the same thing said.
I'm not sure. I don't know how many people see Maynard as a dirty player. Yeah, he plays on the edge, I
But
suppose,
they see him as this like really tough player.
yeah.
I honestly reckon if it's Brayshaw hitting Maynard, I think it's a little bit different.
Personally, I'm trying or I hope I am seeing it the most, just this player
Yeah.
versus that player. But maybe,
Subconsciously, you
subconsciously,
think
I'm
Maynard's so
thinking that,
tough.
I just hope that people in the room that are making
Surely,
the decisions
surely.
aren't thinking like that.
So I'm thinking.
Surely.
I'm thinking it's more people ringing up like viewers of the AFL more saying that. I'm not hearing that from obviously commentators, but I'm hearing that from people that are a little biased. People that love Collingwood.
It probably also didn't
Nothing's
help.
like you.
Maybe I'm a Nuffy, but I'm probably the opposite way Nuffy. But yeah, no, I mean
Probably less Maynard. They're looking at Maynard saying you're a tough player, so we should be more. I think more the fact that you stretch it off 2 minute unconscious, not just a concussion, walks off, stumbles off. It's like a full on 2 minutes unconscious, and then on a stretcher. It just looks so bad to the AFL that have to
It's
do it.
about as one as we've seen in quite a while.
Yep.
And the timing couldn't be worse.
Literally.
The timing could not be worse.
First
with everything
final.
we've gone through this year with all the concussion.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll move on from that. You happy? You had said your piece.
Yep. Hopefully by the end of this podcast, in the next 15 minutes, but I'd be surprised. I reckon I'll go for 2 hours.
Yeah, and he'll have 4 weeks to serve. So
They will. They will almost certainly appeal it. They'll almost certainly
Bali.
appeal
He'll be in Bali. St Kilda and the Swans. Give us a letter grading and just a little bit of a sum up of their season. Do you want to, Corey? Do you want to be in this, or do you want?
it. Yeah,
To just comment-
I can do it, I
Yeah, okay.
suppose. Yeah, I'll
start with St Kilda.
Okay, I was going to start with the Swans since
Bad
they
luck.
played first.
St Kilda.
But, okay, St Kilda. Well,
That's good thinking.
they clearly overachieved. So for the season, yeah.
Totally
Look,
right. Yeah.
for me, it has to be a B plus, if not an A. Ross, like, despite clowning his list in the media,
Actually,
year, which
constantly.
I've never seen a coach do.
You used to the opposite.
Yeah, usually it's pumping them up. Yeah, you can't deny he got the most out of everyone across all lines. Like, they played a defensive style of footy. Their scoring was clearly a problem for him, like certainly through that middle part of the year. But I was really impressed with the back half, how they managed to come home pretty strong and be. I thought they were competitive on the weekend against the Giants still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally agree with that. As a letter grading, I'd B plus, if not A. Defense was, I didn't see that coming. I didn't see what I should have seen it because of Ross's identity and what he can get out of a group. But as good as all those things are, I worry about the next 12 months. I worry about the next 18 months for them. I think he ringed the absolute every drop out of that group, and I don't think there's any more in it, unfortunately.
What do you think about their young players in like Philippou and Owens and
Good, but
Windhager?
like next year, I just think
Liam
people might study him a bit more.
Oh, that's one.
Liam
Henry.
Henry.
I was hoping he'd come to the Hawks, mate. I thought we
I
could
thought he
swap
would
him
too.
for Brockman.
That'd
I thought
be good.
that'd be a
Yeah,
fair trade.
that's actually true. That
How
must
is that
have
not the natural conclusion?
literally makes sense. It'd be Brockman and like a second round pick or something.
Yeah, but players go where they want, I guess, don't they?
Yeah, they've got to accept where they go.
Yeah,
So, unfortunately, it's not like the NBA. You can just ship them off.
it's rough.
But St Kilda, I reckon they've ringed just about everything out of this group. There is a few there that I think can go another step, but I also think the natural teams maybe take a bit more notice of them too, and a bit more studying of how they play, that could drop a few pegs too, and a bit more expectation. But Owens, I love that. He is going to
He's
be
a
a star.
isn't he?
Like
Yeah.
that not awkward, but hard position of half forward / midfielder that just has to hunt, played above his size, played below his size, hard to get off the footy, whether it's in the air or on the ground. He is going to be a fantastic player as a St Kilda player. So I'm really excited for him. Max King's got to get fit, and Tim Embry was a real annoying situation with in and out all year, and I'd like to see him play all year.
You reckon he would have made an impact if he was able to play on
the weekend? Yeah, he would have,
Saturday?
but
Yes.
probably not like
not. It's not
enough?
Not enough margin.
Nah.
But
Yeah,
definitely
okay.
would have made an impact because they're
But all year it would be nice to have him inside. He was
Yeah.
out for a knee here and there, so it'd be nice to have it. They had a lot of injuries all year, but it'd be nice to have the full side all year.
for sure.
A minus for me.
Yeah.
Just because they severely overperform. You boys said it. I think I'm not as concerned as you are, Fletch, about next year.
Who do you see as the improvers next year then?
Well, what I will say is they won't finish 6th next year. I think they'll finish worse than that. But I do think they'll challenge the 8. I just think another year Ross has gone defence first, and I think now he can start to integrate a little bit more attack.
They've built a base, haven't they?
I agree. And I think what he's going to do is I think you've seen really common amongst rebuilds is get defence strong first, and then you start to build your attack from there, I guess. So I want to see Owens in the midfield more. Their midfield's an issue. I think for me it's big in their scoring because I think they're 2-1 pace in midfield. Sinclair is great in midfield, but I want him permanently half back. Crouch, Steele, they're too slow. Seb Ross, too slow. They need someone quick You look at all the best midfields have that pacey. They have that, pardon me, that balance between that big guy and that little bit quicker. So, for me, their scoring's not too big of an issue. I think for me, it's more their midfield needs to get a little bit quicker. And I want to see Owens in there too. So
I want to see Philippou in there.
I was about to say him too.
I was disappointed I didn't see him really at all.
Nah, he's purely a forward. He was compared to Bont at the start of the year. That's a big comparison, but
Pendlebury, I heard.
Pendlebury too.
Yeah.
So, I think they need to change up a little bit in that midfield, but I'm not too worried. They'll challenge finals. They won't finish sixth again. I'm pretty confident they won't do that again, but I think they will definitely challenge finals.
Love it. The Swans, Tommy. Kick us off with the Swans.
I mean, it has to be below a C because we expect them to be back.
What do
there
you think? Not has to be. What do you think?
D plus. I was thinking C minus or D plus, just because they're a young side. You'd expect them to improve on last year, and they went backwards. Now they had more excuses. So some sides that went backwards had less excuses than them. They had no defence all year. Maybe you can put a little bit of blame on them not attacking a defender hard enough in trade period. Because you look at all these sides, they've gotten better. It's come from free agency. But yeah, I think based on the fact that you expect them to improve, and it's hard to improve from a grand final, but I thought they'd be in top four again, and they weren't. So for me, that makes it a D plus. I did like towards back end of the year their key forward looked better. I like Amadi. McLean looked really good on the weekend.
How good was he?
Really good.
Fantastic.
And considering that he copped it for being included in that grand final side last year. He came out of nowhere. He barely played the second half of the year. He looks like their future going forward. I'm not sure how old he is, but he looked really good. And I like the look of Marty too. So I think they're key forward stocks. I think they're set for a long time. Are they good enough to win next year? Remains to be seen. But they look good.
If they don't get Grundy, does McLean have to play number one ruck next year? With Hickey going?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Actually, I forgot. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah. Grundy's will be a great inclusion too. So I think he'll go. He'll be there or Port. Like he'll go somewhere and they'll make them better wherever he goes. But I really liked McLean a lot. I ran the ground. Really good marking around the ground.
Yeah,
but
he was sensational.
They won't be. They'll be better next year. They'll be pushing for top four next year.
Causa, letter grade.
Look, I'm a bit more glass half full on the Swans. Like I read a lot into that first half of the year where they were missing those defenders. So look, I almost want to give them a C just because they're so young. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, but I think
they're coming off Granny.
Yeah, I know it's hard to say, but they did storm home late, which I think more was true to how they actually structured. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of expectation next year, but like I expect a lot of them next year. I think though.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I'm going to go with a D plus just because you did make it Granny last year. But we also did see the stat of you get smashed by that much in the Granny, you actually don't make finals or you don't compete, which technically they didn't really do this year. They lost the first final.
A lot was spoken about that one.
Yeah,
but,
so...
look, it's happened again.
So I guess...
going to make the finals.
Yeah, we should rely on stats because they sometimes prove to be right. So I'm about a D plus there, sorry. They do have some issues though across the ground. The rucks obviously is one. Filling... I know they had Tom McCann, but Paddy McCann filling him, especially with Rampy getting on. Wow. Are they going to get Mackay?
I'd like that. That'd be great. So the second key. He can't be number one. He needs to be number two.
So I reckon there's not a few issues, but there could be some... when you talk about winning a premiership, you've got to have your list come together over 4 or 5 years of drafting, that they all played and get to 100 games at a similar time, and they kind of mesh together. They could almost miss the window by just not quite having the key pillars in play that have played 100 games together, if you know what I mean. So it's going to be an interesting one, but if they get the trades right and get the free agencies right like we talked about, which can be hard to get right, but if they do, they're going to be a side to squander next year. So
if they don't improve their list, Kane Corns is going to come for them. How much did he talk about that throughout the year?
They didn't improve last year.
Just didn't improve. Aaron Francis was the only one they picked up last year or something. He hated that. So,
but even like a Dylan Stevens, he was picked 5 a couple of years ago. He's got an offer.
He's a bit on the outside now.
Well, he's got an offer on the table, but hasn't taken it up and is exploring. So that'll be an interesting one if someone...
He could be one for your Saints, Tommy.
That's it. Yeah, that'd be
a
bit silkier. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I like that. You should do podcasting more often.
Yeah, list manager, mate.
A list manager, yeah. A bit of Nick Austin from Riverside Cricket Club to a list manager. You should do from North Altham.
I was off like Jimmy Bartell, right?
But that's a good one. Yeah, so again, we didn't need that Silk and Dylan Stevens. He hasn't been able to. He hasn't got consistent games. He's been in and out the side too often, so he probably needs a new challenge, doesn't he?
When you look at their wings, it's probably hard to get in there. So maybe a new setup will help him get in there. So it'll be interesting what they do. There'll be a big watch. They could sit around the same mark next year, or they could fly up the ladder if they get it right. So they're going to be an interesting one. All right, the games this week. Got to get into them now. So Friday night, 7:50, Melbourne versus Carlton. This matched around, in my opinion. So. We didn't really talk about Melbourne much. Do you want to talk about them a little bit? Their scoring power. Who do you think they bring in for their forward for Jacob Van Rooyen? And do you think they can score over 66 points?
I'll go first. Yeah, who they bring in, I have no idea.
With the Gawn broken toe, would you bring in Grundy to be 50% ruck, 50% for Max on the forward line, or would you go with more of a pure forward in Brown, or would you go more of a makeshift forward?
I'd go Ben Brown. Personally. I think he's been unconvincing, but I just think he's someone that will lead up the contest. I think the issue with them is they weren't hitting targets. They were more bombing long. I think Ben Brown's that lead up forward that demands the footy. I think they need that. So I would bring Ben Brown, but for me, I think they'll bring Grundy in.
Would you be worried if Grundy goes down halfway through the game, broken toe?
Gawn.
So yeah. Gawn's gone down halfway through the game. You got Brendan Brown in. He's got to be now your sole ruckman.
It's already broken. Ain't getting any worse.
Yeah, but if it full on, I don't know,
falls off.
Yeah, pretty much. Like it's broken, but if crack keeps going, gets bigger.
I think it's Max Gawn. I think he's a superhuman. I think he'll play. I'm not too worried about that personally. I think, to be honest, we've shown the rucks aren't that important in terms of the ruck contest. The ruck contest is not.
He is important.
Max Gawn lost the taps.
Max Gawn's a different gravy. I know that, but
he becomes a third inset defender and then becomes a third forward. So he's
they'd miss him more in that they would in the ruck contest. Personally, I'm not worried about that. I think they pick Ben Brown, but none of the options are great. To be honest, Corey.
No, I tend to agree. What about Fletcher's man?
What's his name? Shaki.
Yeah, Shaki.
No.
He cannot get anywhere near an AFL club.
He
played a game more recently.
Yeah.
Than,
he actually did.
Grundy, didn't he?
Yeah, he actually did. You're right.
He bullies VFL players and then comes to AFL and gets bullied. So let's not play him.
Yeah,
surely not.
No. I mean, I don't know which way they're going to go in terms of selection. I'm more interested in how they play their footy, whether or not they go back to the well and just keep going deep entries on Carlton, try and overwhelm them.
Long and strong.
Because Carlton aren't the sort of team we've spoken about it, they won't hurt you the other way in terms of your turnover game. So whether or not they are willing to lower their eyes against a team like this, rather than playing against Collingwood where they know that they score from their defensive 50. So
if you can put the right matchup on McGovern, I reckon you can pick him off.
I'm more worried about Wiedering, to be honest. Wiedering, second half of the year, has been a beast intercepting.
Yeah, but I'm thinking Wiedering's just so solid one-on-one, whereas McGovern can get lost, and he's looking for the ball, and he'll just go for it. And if you can lead on him, if you can lead up on him, I think you can get easy shots from him just being a bit, where's the ball? Where's it most likely going to go? And then you just sneak in. The other thing, Petrarca's got to play forward. 80% time forward.
I don't think
that's something I wanted to talk about.
I don't think they will, though.
But he's got to.
I agree. They should, but I don't reckon they will.
They've got enough midfielders.
That third quarter was so good for him that I think they'll keep it.
Well, here you go, Tommy. So Brayshaw's obviously out, so he's not playing. So who do you bring in? It almost has to be Jordan, right?
Jordan will come in. He's in pure mid.
Exactly right. So he'll play pure mid. Surely that opens up the chance to put Petrarca forward now.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think even doing something with a Salem or a Rivers, because Salem's been terrible and Rivers has been decent when he's on the midfield. So, no, I agree. I agree with you. I think Petrarca should play forward. I don't reckon they
The other person is Charlie Spargo, but
he's a pressure forward.
Pressure forward, but he, around 2021, early 2020, he was an excellent kick inside 50. Like, didn't just bomb it long to it. Compose, he's found himself out of the side. Yeah. Cade Chandler came in, and I wouldn't
say Laurie was the sub.
Yeah, and it was like they're both pressure forwards, but I wouldn't say they got any class or silk. So why wouldn't you bring in a kicker that can deliver a bit better to your forwards? But
Spargo was so important.
Yeah.
So I know it takes away from their strength in terms of pressure and contest and defense, but you just need a little bit of kicking in your side, don't you? And the other person's got to hit the scoreboard too. I know Clary gets a lot of touches. He's a beast, fantastic, but I'd like to see him when we see him his best, when he kicks 1-2 goals, that's when he becomes unstoppable. I'd love to see him just get 1 or 2 goals. That would make it very hard to pinpoint where you want to go in that midfield and who you want to go after. Because when he starts and scores goals, same with Max, they just become so hard.
I mean, they're just crying out for scoring from somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, it seemingly will have to come from the midfield because we know they're so good.
Well, Petrarca's got to play forward. Come on. Surely. You've got enough midfielders.
Yeah.
They've got enough midfielders to play enough midfield time.
He was getting Brownlow votes playing 80% forward earlier in the year.
It just seems like the only possible avenue. Give us a matchup. So 2 players and then against each other, and then a key player that you think, just really quickly, that you want to see or you think is going to be pivotal, or you're just hanging out to see for Friday night. Just give us 2 really quickly, Tommy.
I mean, for me, it's how Carlton can nullify May and Lever.
So you're saying Kerno, the matchup between Kerno
it's
and
the
May.
second person. It's not Kerno. I think for me, it's 2 players. The second tall. Who does Lever?
So Savani or Jack Martin.
Who does Lever have to go to? They could make DeConning a permanent forward.
I was going to say DeConning is going to be so important Friday night.
He looked dangerous.
He looked dangerous good in the ruck though. So
yeah, he looked good in the ruck, and he was good on Gorn when they played last time. But I also think he looked dangerous as a forward. So for me, it's how I think Silvani's the perfect one to kind of take Lever. So I think it'll be Silvani. But yeah, for me, it's how because you're right, their transition game has not been great, Carlton. And if they do not score from transition, it'll be May and Lever all night.
Corey, matchup that you like to see?
Well, if I can go directly to the other side of the field, I'll say, how does Melbourne negate Wiedering? Because if Wiedering has an off game, Melbourne will run through them, I reckon.
Yes. No, he's right.
Like a morning coffee.
Yeah, I agree.
Because Melbourne are going to dump it in there,
yeah.
I bet. I don't think a thing will change. I don't reckon Petrarca will play forward. I reckon they'll just dump it down there. If they can just get the ball to ground, nullify Wiedering, they win this game, I reckon.
Wiedering could have like 15 marks.
Yeah,
he could generally go for the record in set marks. If they play the same way, Melbourne, Wiedering will take 10 in set marks.
Here you go, Tommy. I'll flag it. If Wiedering doesn't take 8 marks, then Melbourne win.
All right,
8 in set marks or 8 marks?
Just 8 marks.
Okay.
What happens if he gets like a
8 marks
switch?
is a lot of marks.
Yeah, but I know. But what if he gets a switch and it's a mark? It's not really a mark.
I don't think he gets a lot of that. But okay. I'm just putting it out there.
8 marks.
I wouldn't say they switch the ball very often either. I wouldn't say they're constantly doing that. So it's like
down the line, get a contest. Yeah.
I'm going to go with. I really want to say just the 2 midfields because they're both bullocking, brunting midfields, but it's Oliver versus Petrarca, Cripps. Those 2 I want to see go at it. Just head over the footy whole game.
You reckon they will go head to head?
Yeah, but not actually head to head. They'll start at stoppage next to each other.
Yeah.
And then boom. Gone. They'll push off each other, and then they're gone, and they'll go into the ball.
Devil's advocate for you. Hewitt goes to Oliver.
Probably in theory, but
I think Viney and Cripps will go head to head.
Probably in theory, but I'm just trying to hype up the matchup.
I think Hewitt will probably take.
He's building interest.
What I will say though is, you might play a little bit more outside because they've got Chera, Walsh, Cripps.
You reckon Cripps? Wait,
Chera, Walsh, Cripps.
Oh, sorry.
So, but I do think that I wouldn't be surprised if they tagged Oliver. But then again, he's not a great ball user, so he's not going to hurt you.
No, but he's epitome of their side, which is contest and defense. So
he can be pretty damaging if he gets out the front.
Absolutely, he does.
You know he's quick.
They're both just want to play contest and defense. So whoever matches that in the midfield, whoever makes more of that opportunity in the midfield, will probably win the game. Let's be honest.
We've got news. What do you reckon?
Oh, no kidding.
Free to play.
Oh, I fancy that.
Braden Maynard has been cleared of rough conduct and is free to play in Collingwood's prelim final.
Oh,
no.
And Dan made a good point at Netball Fletch. I will put the house on the AFL challenging that.
I reckon
You reckon the AFL challenge it?
Yep.
I think the AFL almost challenged it by telling them that you have to suspend him.
Maybe. I don't know. I just got a feeling. I think when Dan said, I was like, yeah, I think you're right. But I think that there'll be so much backlash tomorrow that I reckon they'll challenge it. I hope not. But yeah, Braz. I don't be happy.
That was such a somber mood.
What were we saying? They got it wrong.
They got it wrong.
Yeah, they got it.
But there you go. So I'm keen to listen to SDN tomorrow morning.
Wow.
That's not surprising. They always do go back on.
So I thought they get weeks now and he would get off next time. But
do you know if they brought up the Tom Lynch scenario?
No, I have to go back and read it.
They had to. They're failing if they're...
Let's go back to read it.
Not.
But sorry for interrupting Fletcher. That was worth interrupting you on.
That was well worth it.
Well done to Carlton. Well done to Collingwood. They've Got the Carlton lawyers employed.
Dan Gorringe.
Where is Gorringe?
But nice.
Free to
He will
play.
most certainly put up something very funny on Instagram in the next hour or
I
so.
say Sportsbet will too.
Yeah.
I think it'll be some lawyer dressed in a Carlton lawyer dressed in Collingwood. I don't know. It'll be something about the Carlton lawyers. But happy days, as Collingwood meant.
Him jumping into his couch or something and being like, Bruzzy.
But nice. Go Pies.
The second game, Port Adelaide, banged up Port Adelaide versus GWS. Trent Rivers out. What's his name? Tom Jonas.
McKenzie.
Trent McKenzie out. What was the second player? Tom Jonas out. Who freaking plays in the backline for him?
I mean, Tom Jones has been poo anyway, to be honest.
Yeah,
He didn't play on the weekend, did he, Jones?
no, but Thursday night he strained a calf muscle, so he
I was under the impression he'd come back in.
would be just making the grand final.
Oh, wow.
That touch and go.
Wow.
So
Yeah, okay,
they
are
generally
in
don't have a
trouble.
defender to come in. So, what's your thoughts on this game? GWS, how much do you trust them?
Gee, they sound right for the taking.
They are.
Very right.
I think Port will start favourites from the bookies, but I reckon Giants almost start favourites, like, realistically. I just think the Port... It looked all right. I think
Port
as you said,
$1.60.
Corey, yeah.
GWS 2.35.
I think that's about... I'd probably say it's more like 170-ish, but yeah, it's pretty close to being right. Port looked all right for a fair chunk of that game. So I think maybe I'm not giving Port enough credit. That they took it to the Lions at the Gabba for a fair chunk of that game. But I think the Giants just... I think you're right. I think from one end to the other, I think they look a bit more solid. I think
They did get smacked a couple weeks ago, but
They did.
Port,
Yeah, they
Adelaide
did.
level.
Yeah,
They
I was
did.
looking back at that game
80
today.
points,
They got it was only 50 points, but it was
it's a fair.
Yeah,
Sorry, I
beating.
meant to say 8
Yeah.
goals, not 80 points. I meant to say
Horn
8.
Francis had like 27 and 3 goals or
Yes,
something. Like
yes.
he just, I dare say he won't do that again.
No. He won't.
You guys can come for me if he does, but I dare say he won't do that again.
I'd be surprised if he did that
Yeah.
again. My biggest question is, let's be honest here, you stop 3 players, you stop Port Adelaide. Jason Horn Francis, Jason JHF, Connor Rosie, and Zach Butters. You got 3 of those. Who are you putting to them? Who's JWS putting to them? Because let's be honest, you stop those 3, you got Port in a barrel.
I think that the Giants midfield's good enough to go head to head. I think they'll back themselves. They've got the better rack.
You don't get killed by what you know.
Yeah, but they've got the
someone-
better ruck. They don't need. I don't think they. I think it's
Nah.
similar to.
I don't think they typically do that.
They don't
for
tag
Giants.
anymore,
would've-
Fletch.
I'm not talking about hard tag, but you are got to be accountable of at least one of Connor Rosie or Zach Butters.
Oh
in
yeah, I'm
my
sure that like Cornelio or Green will start on them, but I like as stoppages. But I don't think they need to put any effort in at all.
If they come and lose and they have between the 3 of them 90 odd touches and 3 goals between the 3 of them, and they lose, you'd be sitting there going, "Well, we got killed by what we know."
But I don't reckon
Why-
they might turn to that. But I don't reckon they'll start that.
Make Ollie Wines have 30 and
Their
3.
midfield's been so good. The Giants. I don't think it matters.
Make someone else kick goals and have touches.
You can't
apart from
tag
those 3.
all 3 of them, Fletch.
I'm not saying tag all 3 of them, but choose one and at least get one.
Well, you Butters.
Who do you choose?
Butters.
I think Butters.
Butters.
I think Rosie's in a position where you can't really tag because he plays so attackingly. Whereas
That's true, I suppose.
I think Zach Butters can get a bit more around the ball, and then Jason Horn Francis, you'd probably just say, we don't run defensive anyway, so we'll get you that way.
be
We'll
honest,
put Tim Callaghan, not Tim Kelly, Josh Kelly, and try and get you on the offensive way.
He's typically playing out on the wing at the moment, Kelly, isn't he?
Yes. So it's a bit hard to bring him in, but I'll try and get that.
He's
Because I'm sitting here
exposed
racking my
otherwise.
brain. I'm trying to think who the 3rd GWS midfielder is. Obviously, you
Cogs,
got Cogs.
Ward.
Assuming he comes back into the side.
Yeah, Green Cogs.
Ward plays a little bit, but not much centre
more
bounce.
wing, he's more wing.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I dare say that Ward will play some sort of defensive role.
That's
Probably
what I was thinking.
Probably on Butters.
that's what I was thinking.
But the game's definitely going to be won and lost around the ball.
Yeah, for me,
Yeah.
I just
That
think
midfield.
Briggs is just too. He'll just be too dominant for Lysette. That's for me makes me think that they can maybe be accountable for those Port guys, but I don't think you need to put any effort in whatsoever into them.
You've got to put effort in.
Not a little bit.
One.
Maybe a hand on a stoppage, but it won't be anywhere near what Willem Drew did to Neil. Anywhere near
Oh.
it. Anywhere near it. They will not tag any of them.
I don't think they've got a play to do that, but if they did, I would be saying put
They
one.
won't. They'll start head to head, and I agree. If Butters has 22 and a goal at half time, there may be Cornelio was a little more defensive. I honestly do not think they'll do anything.
Outside of those 3, who the hell are killing you? So why would you let
I don't think
them
their
kill
midfield-
you?
But I think the Giants midfield's good enough. I think Lysette will do what he likes. Me.
If they come in and
Lysette
lose,
will do what he wants.
Pardon?
You think Lysette will do what he wants?
No, he'll be a human step ladder.
Yeah.
Step ladder.
I think Giants will get first use. I reckon they're every chance.
You reckon? Briggs will have 15 clearances himself, man. He had 9 against Marshall.
Yeah.
He could have like 30.
I see what you're saying. To play devil's advocate, you're both right. Like, you have to put attention into them somehow. But at the same time, GWS, I reckon, they'll be going in thinking, we just got to beat them at clearance. That's all they'll be thinking. Yeah. They'll be going, all right, Tom Green, you just get in there. You get the ball, mate. You just get it out.
I do think you're right to some extent, though. You're right. That if they have 80 touches and kick 3 between them and they lose, you're right. Because outside of those 3, they're doing nothing. I just don't think they need to. It might not be a tag. It might just be a hand on a stoppage. It might just be, okay, make Butters, put a hand. Like, similar to what they do with Cripps. No one hard tags Cripps. They just put an arm on him at stoppage and lean on him a bit. Maybe it could be Canelio does that. But I just don't think it won't be anywhere close to a Willem Drew type situation. Yeah, close.
I don't think Willem Drew, I'm not talking like hardtail or that, but I think just post-stoppage, Zach Butters is so good with his hands and his feet. I think you can't let him run 5 metres on his own. You've got to at least have someone in the vicinity so that he's so good post-stoppage getting the ball, finding the ball and then using it really well. So you've just got to quell that influence. I think round the stoppage you can let him kind of do what he wants to an extent, but post-stoppage you need to quell what he does because his gut running up and down and his ball use with that can slice you open. And as we talked before, they almost play defense through offense, and it's because you just get attacked the whole time. So there has to be some sort of accountability. And I'd hate for GWS to go out, or I don't really like GWS, so they can go out if they want. But I'd hate for them to go out on the fact that,
No, you're right.
You lose knowing what you got beaten by. And
you're right.
The only reason won 13 in a row is because of that.
No, you're right. I think you're right. The story will be if they have 90, then they'll be like, do something more. I agree with that.
And I can't be bothered watching Kane Courts sit there and
I
love
Jason Francis. He's been slamming Port lately too, hasn't
he? I know, he's been the opposite.
Yeah, but if Jason Francis has like 30 and has 25 and 3 goals, he would just be like, he's going to win a Brownlow in 2 years' time.
He's been hot on court. He's been hot on Francis a lot, though. He hasn't flipped. But
how's that anonymous coach that's like clearly Chad Corns? What rubbish that was. Seriously. Kane's reporting. One of the coaches.
We should get to our matchup, shouldn't we, Corey? What was your matchup?
Our matchup?
Yeah.
Oh, my matchup. It's just Tom Green in the middle. He's the man. He's the man to win him clearance, and like I said before, I think that's where the game's going to be won and lost. If the Giants win clearance, I reckon they win.
If they halve clearance, I think they win.
Yeah.
Well, if they get territory, it's going to go through like a sausage down a hallway.
Yeah, if they're as efficient as they were against St Kilda as well, they will fly through Port.
What about Whitfield off half back? Would you put someone on him? He was very good on the weekend.
Yeah, he was good. He's been good the whole back half of the whole year.
Burn Jones looks primed to be that role.
Yeah, you won't be subbing him out again, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, that was so unlucky. All right, Tom Green was
playing okay too.
He was. He actually was. He kicked a goal and then got subbed out.
Yeah, I don't get it.
And they get 2 or 3 injuries.
Ken.
For me, we talked about it heaps, so I'll keep it quick. The Port defence. If the Giants get 50 inside 50s, they'll win. Like, I think, who plays on Toby Green? There's no one. No, they don't have anyone. So, I think Toby Green kicks 15. No, he'll kick like 5. Toby Green. Put it in the back. Put it in the book.
I have no idea who's going to go to him.
Who goes to him, man?
I get that they have a lot of mid-sized defenders.
Yeah,
but they've all just gone down.
Ryan Bird-Jones, I reckon, probably goes to him. But I don't trust it.
Burton's playing forward, defensive.
June Ryan Burton.
Oh, sorry, Burton.
Sorry, yeah. Not Ryan. Yeah, Ryan Burton.
Ryan Bird-Jones.
If Toby gets him one-on-one, that's mouse in the head.
Yeah, I know, but I don't...
It actually will be... It will be.
I can't think of another person.
That's because they just don't... Yeah, that's what I mean.
So Toby Green will kick 5 or have 9 score involved.
Dylan is it Williams?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been the one who's been an okay one-on-one defender back there for him, but he's just the one that's
got injured.
He's gone down.
He's been good too, yeah. He's been injured. So they've got no matchup for him.
Send Tom Jonas out there on one leg. Be a captain, would you?
Yeah. So I've got a mongrel in you. But
one of the worst captains.
Yeah, for me, I've got Giants winning. I know we've got to our tip for the Melbourne game. We'll go back to it. For me, I've got the Giants winning by 2 goals. Close one.
12 points. Giant. Oh, sorry. Who you got by how much?
I'm gonna typically the top 4 gets through. So I'm a back Port by, call it 3 goals.
I'm gonna go Port 2, and it's 10 points. I'm not really confident, but
Yeah.
the stat of the top 4 mainly making it through is pretty much
More often
persuading me
than
here.
not, they bounce back.
Yeah. What about the previous game? What was that? Carlton Melbourne.
Carlton Melbourne.
We didn't really do a tip for that.
Go and flip a coin.
I think Melbourne by 5 points.
They can't be straight
5
hits
points.
again, can they? They
5
can't
points.
be straight hits again. I think it'll be like 11 points, Melbourne.
What about yourself?
I'm gonna just jump on the baggers. Why not? Let's get on the
Please,
baggers.
no.
Come on, baggers. Let's get this Collingwood Carlton grand final ramped up.
No.
Yeah,
Corey,
so good.
Corey, you won't be able to talk to me for the whole week. If Collingwood can't grand final, I was talking to Emily. Emily drove me to watch some footy on Sunday, and I don't think I'd survive a week of Collingwood Carlton. I think I'd be a nervous wreck.
I don't think the rest of us would be able to survive.
Yeah.
A day of it.
Social media
Imagine
wouldn't
those
be able to.
Two fan bases going at it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Social media
Me.
would be like toxic as hell.
I would like to black out the week before that grand final, watch the grand final, and then,
And then
black
week out
out the
after.
week after. That's what I'd like to do.
Yes, I think that's
I
what
don't
most
want to
will
listen
do.
to the Instagram stories of people yelling at TV when Collingwood keep going, the
Yeah,
Carlton keep going.
That's exactly
Fucking
why.
hell.
I
You'll
don't-
see it
I-
live,
yeah,
Fletcher.
Social media
You'll see
will
me.
be.
Well, thank God you won't be there because you're with your family. Oh,
No, I won't
fucking hell.
be. I've confirmed that I will be whenever we host because Dad will be at Dad's gone next door, so I'll be. You'll see me yell. I won't yell too much though because I'll just be too nervous. I don't think.
Well, would you come with us? Would you be with us
Yeah.
when if Collingwood?
Yeah, I would. I usually wouldn't, but Dad's gone next door, so if Dad was on his own, I'd stay with him.
I think
but
you'll
Dad's
be
gone
too
next door.
nervous. He'll
I'll be
just
too nervous.
Shut up, shut.
I won't, and I
Oh,
don't want to yell too much because then if we lose, I don't want people to give it to me. So I'll be good.
West Coast.
I'm
I'll be
giving it
good.
to you all the way.
No, please
Dom
don't.
Shee from the
So,
pocket.
so I was lucky. Dom Sheaf in the
That game
pocket.
that never happened.
So yeah, it never happened. So Dom Sheaf in the pocket. I didn't go. He didn't come to the Sharples. I stayed. We had our own thing. So Marcus was nice to me. He like, I was like hugging. He was like cuddling me while I was crying. So, but no. Yeah, if it's Collingwood. Yes.
That was my Malchevsky in 2012, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, brutal.
That's all right. I'm trying to relate with you. You know.
Thank you.
The
Please.
difference
Trying to
is
say
he
it
went 3.
Yeah,
on
you
the
won
trot.
3 flags.
Yeah.
We lost an
that
almost
happened.
unlosable grand final. We lost almost unlosable grand final.
Hang.
One
Yeah.
kick, man. I would have watched that game 60 times.
One Shepherd.
But that one shepherd, yeah, that one umpire, that one shepherd has cost me how much?
Maynard was Shepherd.
Would you rather Maynard get 3 weeks now, or that be called a Shepherd?
Oh, well, that's a bit.
No guarantee you still win from there.
I was going to say no contest still
They were
win.
flying,
How
West Coast.
But you did get a free kick. You get a free kick with like 2 minutes to go, was it?
Yeah, you can hold the footy for 2 minutes, can't you?
Yeah, probably.
Till Willie Rioli comes over the top.
Flying Ryan. But no,
That's the man.
You didn't answer the question.
it's hard to tell. I mean, I want to bank the flag, so no, I'd bank the flag and say
Okay.
he's out for 3.
Mate, you want Maynard out this week, okay?
No,
That's all right.
don't. I need you to do that. But yeah, what were we even talking about? Yeah, I don't know. What's talking about? To be honest.
Pies Blues grand final.
Yeah, no, that's not happening. No, not happening. That ain't happening. No, I want Brisbane.
Hey, no one wants Carlton to fail more than me, mate. I flagged them at the start of the year, said they were going to suck. And they did suck. And then they stopped
They did
sucking.
suck. I had them 8th, I think, so I had them not doing so well. To be fair, I had them in the right position, didn't I? 8th?
They came 5th.
Oh, whoops. No,
Oh, you're going to
I'm
have
in
to
the
review
complete
that,
wrong-
aren't you? Your whole
complete wrong
ladder.
position.
Yeah.
To be fair, well, yeah, I said like you, I was in a pretty good position.
Mm.
But I'll take my Freo one to the bank. I had Freo doing bad and they did bad. So.
Yeah, a lot
Same
of
with the
people,
Dogs.
a lot of people had Freo doing
I had Freo and the
Did you have
Dogs at the
Freo
eight.
doing
No, I
bad?
had Collingwood doing bad.
Oh, right.
I had Freo and the Dogs out the 8.
That was
So-
absolute bold call, and that was
That's all right.
at the end of the final series. And I had to go with it. I had to
No,
keep going
but
with it.
we have to. We talked. This has been a long podcast, but he also said in 1 week he said Collingwood outside the 8, and then we saw the predicted. We saw how hard the fixtures were, and he said Collingwood in the 8. He went in and out. He had 2 different weeks. He had him in 1 week, out the next.
All right.
So, you had like 18 in
Bit
your freaking
wishy-washy.
your top
I
8.
had 15 teams making the 8. I know. I had 15 sides making the
I'll
8.
tell you what, the comp was so even that like your win-loss wouldn't be that bad, right?
Actually, yeah. Can we actually review that? You're right. Because
Yeah.
I had a lot of because I had a lot of sides going over, but because there was the comp so even, it might actually been right on a few. So thanks to that, Corey.
You can do
Like
the
I said,
research
Tommy,
for
I
that.
don't like admitting when you're right.
Yeah, I'm right
Not
fairly
often
often.
either.
Fairly often.
Not often.
Fairly often.
Not often.
But no more. All right, Fletcher. We talked a long time already.
Thanks for our special guest and our every week guest.
But no, thank you, Corey, for coming on.
Oh, it was a pleasure to be another guest on the show.
Got the Poo and Wee scarf on here.
Yeah, I'm surprised he bought that. But there you go. The
What are
Pill
you
and
talking
Wee.
about? Like I
the
said, we
Pill
beat
and
the
Wee
we
scarf.
beat the preliminary finalists. Throughout the
Yeah,
year.
you did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we should be there.
Just a quick one before we finish off. Really, really quick. Sum up your cricket season this season in a sentence.
This season,
How many
Yeah.
wickets?
flags. That's all I've got on the mind, mate.
Okay.
Another
10
flag.
game.
Yeah,
Very
I need
boring.
four in 4 years is what I'm shooting for.
Yeah, wow.
I've got 3 in 3 years. I need a fourth. A B grade one would be nice.
Yeah,
So-
that's next
Yeah,
level.
I've
That's
got
next level.
the Barclay one, the C grade, T20. Need a B grade.
Mm.
There you go.
Yeah, that's what I'll be thinking. Some wickets.
He's a
would be
team
nice.
man. Gave us a very boring answer, but that's all right. No
Yeah.
controversy.
He's
Yeah,
going.
I
he's-
don't do that
he won
much.
the bowling award for the twos last year. I think he's shooting for the points one, the total winner. For the twos.
The champion player.
The champion player.
Yeah,
He's
I think I
shooting for
bowled
that.
60 overs more than everyone else in that team. I think I was filled with
Strong
opportunity.
favoured.
Yeah.
But no, Corey's a handy little cricketer. This fella,
I play cricket. Yes,
pretty well.
go cricket.
Play cricket.
Don't play for turn, mate.
Little offie. Anyone can bowl offies.
Love it. All right. Thanks everyone for joining the podcast. Tell a friend, like,
Tell a stranger.
Tell
You
a
know the drill.
stranger.
And
Sorry.
Dan Hooper next week on the podcast. Confirmed.
confirmed. All
That's
right.
exciting.
That is exciting. He's making his debut. He wasn't on the
No.
well, we didn't ever release it. But yeah,
Very
Dan
crazy.
making his debut, so that's
You're
exciting.
gonna have to get along with the Tigers, man.
Yeah, no, we're not. We're not mentioning Richmond. We are not.
What if he mentions it?
Well, we'll shut him down.
You'll shut him down.
We'll let it out.
Fletcher will let him.
I might
run
entertain
around.
it.
We'll let it out.
It was about Dimo and he feels sad that Dimo.
Okay,
left
that
him.
we'll ask him that.
I
We'll
won't
ask
say
him
no.
that. That's a good question. We'll ask him that.
Okay. Love it. See you guys.
Thanks for listening.
Pleasure.